Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Ear to Ear Podcast with C. Ray and Laney Mo. If you haven't tuned in yet, I am C. Ray, and this big hubba bubba over here is Laney Mo. How you doing tonight, buddy?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Doing okay. Coming off our second game of the year, WVU gets the win over Albany Great Danes, man, 49-14. Garrett Green went 17-23 for 236 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had 7 rushes, 68 yards, and a touchdown. Nico got some playing time, 3 for 3 for a whole 12 yards. 1 rush for 12 yards and a touchdown. We looked better, but Laney was at a wedding this weekend. Didn't really get to watch the game. Didn't have a whole lot of time to get to rewatch it. But from Laney, what you may have heard, what did you think?
From what I heard, the defense just not good. Gave up 300 yards through the air. They could pretty much do what they wanted to. That our defensive backs looked confused and lost at times. That the ball didn't realize that the ball was even in the air at some points, thrown in their direction, and they were just feeding off of what the wide receiver's body was doing before they could even turn around to really see the ball at times. Sloppy play, even offensively, that it was very kind of vanilla. That things just worked out. That we still had issues with, holding on to the ball a little bit. Like I heard Jaheim got stripped on a big run we get, and also like defense. Mostly what I heard and what I've saw from watching clips of pressers, that the defense is just almost they're in a bad spot. The defense in a bad spot. That Leslie, they're not putting no pressure on the quarterback for one, and then two, on top of that, the down, like they had, I think, 3 to 4 15-yard completions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, where's your linebackers at? Where's the pressure at? And where's the DBs at? So where's the defense? Where's, that's where I'm at with it. Like I said, I didn't get to watch one snap, and I'm just going by what was heard, but it's going to be interesting.
That's pretty accurate. The defense just I don't know, man. I don't really know what to say. It's kind of what my thought. I mean, it's what I said before the first game. And it kind of happened. It came to pass that we were probably going to have trouble getting pressure on Penn State, and we did, and that we're going to have to rely on the secondary. I thought we would get more pressure on Albany, being an FCS school. I thought it would be easier, and I think we got 1 sack and maybe 2 pressures total, including the sack. So that's one of the concerning things for me, is the defense is not getting pressure, and the secondary is giving up big yards, and the secondary gave up 306 yards to an FCS quarterback. Or the defense as a whole, I should say. That's not all necessarily on the secondary, right, but the defense as a whole gave up 306 yards passing to a FCS quarterback. And that's concerning because we have a lot of good teams in the Big 12 with good quarterbacks left on the schedule, and we can't be giving up that kind of yards to an FCS school and turn around and go into Big 12 play 2 weeks from now, with Jalen Daniels as our first Big 12 quarterback. And assuming the glass quarterback, I call him the glass quarterback because it's like he gets hurt easy. Assuming he makes it to Morgantown, he's going to be looking to run, and I think that's going to create problems. But that's for next week's episode. As far as it goes, in my opinion, we did what we needed to do for a tune-up game against a cupcake school, 49-14. I preached all week that, we needed to win by 21 at least for me to not have many worries. And unfortunately, winning by as much as we did, I still have some worries because at halftime, it was 28-14, and they almost scored before halftime.
Right, that's what I heard.
Halftime.
I heard they were on the doorstep.
We were that close to the halftime score being 28-21. But the defense did keep them from scoring the rest of the game, but they didn't look good doing it. They still did pretty much what they wanted. But we had a couple goal line stands. We had a couple 4th down stands that kept them from getting more points on the board. Yeah. But that kind of stuff can't happen against the rest of the teams on our schedule, or it'll be ugly. But it was good to see, we had 553 yards total offense. Even though considering the opponent, it was still good to see a high number. It was still good to see Green looking, a little better. He still missed some easy stuff, but he had some good throws that receivers didn't catch either. So kind of goes hand in hand there. But we did have 9 receivers that recorded catches and 3 that recorded touchdowns. So I mean, we spread the love around a little bit. We got some second string guys in there in the fourth quarter, got some reps for them, which I think is important, especially for Nico.
Brown said he was just happy with the decision making. He said that Green at least was reading and making the right decisions.
Yeah.
He said where against Penn State, he's only got one game to go by.
Yeah.
But against Penn State, it was the wrong read and then wrong decision off the wrong read.
Yeah.
So he said, I just wanted to see more relaxed, more of a, cerebral decision-making type of, progression going through.
Yeah.
And he said, I guess he said he wanted to see Nico at least another 2 series, that he wishes that he could have saw him for at least another 2 series.
Yeah. Well, I think we only ran 57 snaps. I mean, it wasn't even 60. So I mean, It was a relatively quick game.
He said it was quick, and Albany controlled the pace of it.
And that's worrisome for me that we can let an FCS school come into our house and control a game that well and give up those kinds of yards. We didn't give up the points to them, but I'm willing to bet that if you give up 306 yards to Oklahoma State's quarterback or Texas Tech's quarterback or any Big 12 quarterback, it's going to be a long day for us.
I think you give it up next week, this coming Saturday
against Pitt.
I mean,
maybe I don't think it. I mean, what do you take from a game like this, right? You look at this and we won 49-14 and you think that's what we should have done. We would probably have more to talk about had we only won, 35-31 or something like that. We would have a lot to talk about. We don't have much other than how bad the defense looked. The offense looked better, but again,
sorry, go ahead.
No, you're go ahead. I was just going to say the offense looked better, but when you consider the opponent, we should have looked better. We would have.
The score's deceiving.
It is.
Because like me, I never saw a snap, and I see 49-14. I think domination. I think that West Virginia, something dumb happens and they pick it up and get the ball at the 15-yard line, and they just run it, run, touchdown. And then in the fourth quarter, with a minute left, our players that are walk-ons pretty much are out there in the game, and they score another one, and we win. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that West Virginia at one point, like, I don't want to say struggled, but from what I'm hearing, it wasn't very. They never really put them away until like halfway through, the
third quarter.
The third quarter.
Yeah. We come out and had a third quarter score of 14-0, and that kind of put the game out of reach. And I don't know, halfway through the fourth quarter, we got Nico, who came in and did what he did. So it was good to get the win. It was good. It was good to have a tune-up game before going into Pitt. It is hate week, so everybody let the hate flow through you. We all know the chant, right? It is that week. Pitt beat Cincy, and I don't. I mean, Cincy is what Cincy is. They got a new coach. I think their loss to Pitt probably has more to do with their new coach than it does with them overall. I don't know how to really feel. I don't know if I should be like disappointed in Cincy or be like, okay, Pitt beat somebody we didn't expect them to beat. I don't think it translates really for anything for us. I don't think we lose that game next week. Regardless of the Penn State game and whatever you can take from this past weekend, I just don't think we lose to Pitt. The worst thing that we're going to have to worry about, though, that could give us trouble is, again, the defense not getting pressure on the quarterback and the secondary not. And maybe it's because a lot of them are new. They're playing together. You got to have that time to gel. Maybe that's what it is. But we got to get it this weekend. We got to gel and get it together this weekend because starting Big 12 play again with Kansas coming to town on September 21st. And we got to be ready for that because that's what's going to matter as a conference play.
No matter how bad or good Pitt is, we are going to get their best shot. They will get up to play West Virginia.
Yes.
They always do.
It's a rival game. That's a rival game.
They always will. And yeah, it's going to be, punches back and forth. And there's no doubt in my mind that this team is very, very capable. Pitt is not supposed to be that good. And Pitt came back. They Cincinnati had them like 24-6. Something like that. It's 21-24. They were down, basically 2 scores. Yeah. And Pitt came back in the fourth quarter and won. And so it's to me, it's one of those things where we know since I'm saying Cincinnati's probably last place team in the Big 12. They should be.
I mean, the bottom 4 at least.
Yeah. And for Pitt to struggle with them, it gives me a lot more confidence going in.
Right. But you know as well as I do that Pitt could go 1-11 and
give us all we want.
Well, they could go 1-11, and if we were on the schedule, that 1 would be us because it's us. And it's the same thing with us. We could go 1-11, but if Pitt was on our schedule that year, that 1 win would be Pitt because that's a rivalry game, right? And that's not us. That's Alabama and Auburn. That's any of the other ones. I can't think of any right off the top of my head that easily, but
Michigan, Ohio.
Michigan, Ohio State. That's any of them. They're like that. So
you get up when you play your crosstown rival or a border war. Yeah. So, but to me, I can't. I mean, my hatred for them is beyond.
I think anybody in the blue and our shade of gold will agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to argue.
It's just one of those. It's just one of those things to me. Like, it's 100 isn't enough to beat them by. Right. I want embarrassment. I want total domination.
Right.
And I believe that Neil Brown gets it. I think he gets this rivalry.
He does.
Narduzzi, even though he's not really like from Pittsburgh or whatever, same as like Neil's not from West Virginia, but
he gets it.
They get it. They truly get it. And I can't wait. We're heading up there probably Saturday morning, leaving Morgantown probably about 8:30. Probably about 8:30 or so. We're rolling out of Morgantown. Pumped.
I'm not making the trip all the way down from Charleston this year. I went with you and Big Cliff Lauer 2 years ago because I didn't want to miss the first time we played Pitt since I was in college.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to miss that, but this time I'm gonna stay at home, watch it on the theater screen in the basement, and if I'm by myself, that's cool with me. I'll sit there with some beers and some Cheetos, man. Don't matter to me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think we win, obviously. But I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't know how much the offense is going to improve because again, I don't really know what to take from Albany.
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah. So you take into consideration that and the secondary. I do think we're going to get the win, but it's not going to be a huge win. And I'm thinking 35-21.
I'm saying something dumb. I think they block a extra point and take it for 2 points. A punt goes to our guys' hands and they get the ball back. I think it's going to be there's going to be some little bit of messiness to it. I'm calling. Man, this is a tough one for me. I think you're close. I think you're really close. The defense went in. Buddy, I'm going to say 41-31 West Virginia.
All right. Well, you guys heard that here. Moving on to something. I want your opinion on something, Lanny.
Yeah, man.
And this is one of those things that I don't tell him about before pre-show because I want to get his honest opinion. Bowling Green played Penn State, scored 27 points. And didn't just score 27 points. They almost won scoring those 27 points. What do you take from that on the surface?
On the surface, I think that either Bowling Green's a lot damn better and they should win their conference easily, the MAC, or Penn State was shell shocked and overlooked them. The
You
way
think it was a trap game for Penn State?
I
Almost.
think it might have been because they were down like 24-20 at halftime.
Yeah. I mean,
And
they were down to the fourth quarter. I mean, at the start of the fourth
yeah,
quarter, they were losing, and I thought that Bowling Green might pull this off.
and it's one of those things where it's like sometimes you play down to your competition, and Bowling Green might have just sold out for one game, and
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it seems like there's always that once a week there's that little school that absolutely terrifies the hell out of a big school.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to jump around, but you got Northern Illinois that beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame.
Yeah, that's a nasty loss for them.
That's an awful loss. That's an awful loss for anybody.
I mean,
Anybody.
if you would almost have to think after making that loss that if this was not a 12-team playoff starting this year, they would have pretty much zero chance to make the playoffs at that
Notre
point.
Dame, in my eyes, Notre Dame's going to run the table. In my eyes, because
probably true.
Because I think the only game, the real game they're going to have, I have no idea what their schedule is, but it's like they have their rivalry with USC, and USC is going to be in the top 10.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know, but back to Penn State real quick. Good teams find a way to win, and with that, you just try to win and survive. And not take that L, that ugly L right there. So Penn State, got a little scare, and now it's okay, let's totally forget about that and let's just keep it moving now.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, I think I think it's time to finally close the chapter on that. I just wanted your opinion because I just found it interesting that we couldn't score more than 6 points on Penn State. Bowling Green walks up in there and scores 27 and almost wins. So it was just an interesting look at it.
Now that I have time to reflect a little bit on the Penn State game, I think we play. I think the coaching, the play calling was a little bit too close to the vest, and the lights were bright, man, and I just truly think that West Virginia, the players wise, froze up. I think it was just.
You think it was just too big of a moment?
I think the hype, and they think I got to play perfect. We got to play perfect. And when you pressurize things, it takes, you take the volume out of the bottle a little bit, and it's a pressure cooker, and I think the lights were too bright, and once everything.
But the problem I have with that is it seems like when a team like that, a ranked team or a big game comes around for a Neil Brown team, it seems like the lights are always too bright.
In a way, yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of my problem. But going back to Notre Dame, if you're curious, I pulled up their schedule here, and it's kind of interesting. There's not a whole lot going on. They did play Texas A&M in the first week and won. But they have Purdue next, probably a win. Miami of Ohio, probably a win. Louisville, who's ranked 19th, could be a questionable game for them, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
They got Stanford, Georgia Tech, probably.
Georgia Tech will beat them.
You think so?
I think so. I think Georgia Tech will beat them. Georgia Tech's a juggernaut.
They, they have had a good start to the year. Navy, which Navy has their games where they just decide. It's almost like they decide when they want to get up for something.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State, UVA, Army, and USC. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. I see where there could be a couple more losses on that schedule for them. But I do see where they could run the table. I don't know if they will or not. I don't know Notre Dame's personnel well enough, but yeah. I would be surprised if they do. I see probably 2 more losses on there. I bet they go 9-3. I
can see easily two more losses with that. I think me and my buddy was talking this evening. I going by West Virginia. I don't think we lose at home. I think our losses are road games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
I still think it's Arizona away, Oklahoma State away, and I can't remember who else, but I think I had us at 3 losses, and I had us beating Penn State,
You
but
did, yeah, because
yeah,
you and I agreed on everything except
hmm
Penn State. I had us at 8-4. You had us at 9-3.
yeah, and
Um,
I still believe that our losses come on the road. I think we win at home. I think we are undefeated at home this year.
well, no, well, we can't be undefeated at home. We already lost one at home.
Well, I mean,
But yeah, but for the rest of but for like Big 12 play and everything,
yeah,
yeah, I got you. Well, we're gonna float around to questions from viewers. We started this last week.
yes,
Got a couple this week.
all right, all
And
right.
what Lanny knows is we have questions. What he doesn't know is what those questions are.
Hell, I don't even know the answers yet.
Yep,
So
don't even know
yeah,
the answers yet. So, this one is from a hometown homie of mine, and you know him, but his William Henry at Big Willow 5. He says, after this week as a whole, how do we stack up against the rest of the teams in the conference and what they're doing? Now, before you read that or before you answer that, let me read what happened this week in the conference,
okay.
and then I'll repeat the question and for you so you can kind of think about it again. So BYU beats SMU, which if you were going off SMU fans and their egos, this is the best conference win of the week for sure. Because SMU thinks they are just a powerhouse. Um, but you know, they got
And
that big. I call,
they're the new kids in the ACC.
yeah, I call big pony energy.
Oh,
Utah over Baylor, and remember that doesn't count as a conference game for those two teams because that was on the schedule before the conference
do you know the
realignment.
score? You know the score of that game?
23-12.
Oh, okay.
Utah. Yeah.
Okay,
Which I don't think is a terrible loss for Baylor.
no, that
Utah is supposedly, well, they're number 11 right now.
and they're supposed to be offensively loaded.
Yeah.
So
So I mean, pretty a necessary win for them if they want to make the playoffs. Not a
okay,
bad loss for Baylor.
no, Baylor's
Houston
not good.
now Houston lost to Oklahoma and 16-12. Oklahoma only beat them by 4. But I don't know if you've paid attention to this or not, but the last few years, Oklahoma has kind of not looked good in the first few games of the year.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of turn it on as the season goes on, but the first couple games, they're looking a little iffy the last few years. So Oklahoma State beats Arkansas 2 overtimes,
That was
39-31.
awful. That was all. I watched that. I got to watch that game before we went to the wedding, and there's no way that I truly thought that Oklahoma State was going to come back in that game.
I was surprised at it, but
I
I
was
mean,
amazed by it. I was
yeah,
amazed by it. Oklahoma State they were dead fish for basically 3 quarters.
yeah.
They kept Ollie bottled up.
Dude,
And
and that's
I'm telling you what, right now, I will be highly disappointed if Green doesn't run for 150 yards himself
okay.
against Oklahoma State. Because I'm not saying we're going to beat Oklahoma State because it's there, but I'm
We beat them
saying
last time we were there.
I'm telling you, the quarterback for Arkansas was doing this. They ran like 4 times, where it's almost like a fake pitch to the right, and he naked boot, and there was nobody on that side of the state. I think the band got up and moved. I mean, there was nobody on that side of the stadium, and he'd take off easily 15 yards before contact, before he was even. And I'm like, oh my good. And just it was like they gouged Oklahoma State with play. It was not even play action, just movement. And he dropped back, and it was literally like Statue of Liberty kind of stuff. It was drop back, 1001, left side, right side of the center. And he was getting 6-8 yards before contact. He was running crazy. He was running crazy. Oklahoma State looked awful on defense. So I don't know how they came back.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's like last year too. when they were here. We kept Ollie Gordon bottled up the whole game till the fourth quarter. Then the guy runs for 150 yards in one quarter and 3
Yeah.
scores, and we end up losing by, essentially the same amount that they won by this year. I don't know. It's weird, but yeah. So Okie Light got the win there.
Okay.
K-State over Tulane 34-27. Not surprising. Kansas lost to Illinois 23-17. I don't really know how good Illinois is this year. I don't think that's a god awful loss, but I think it's something that they should have won. Arizona beats Northern Arizona 22-10. Not really much of a surprise. Iowa State beat Iowa, and in my opinion, I think this is probably one of the better wins for the conference this week, just because of Iowa's success last year and
Yeah.
Iowa coming in ranked this year already and everything like that. It was a good win, especially for Iowa State. So they got that. Since he lost to Pitt, of course, which looks bad because it's Pitt. UCF over Sam Houston 45-14. No surprise there, right? Now, here's the one, and you're going to like this. Nebraska shucks Colorado 28-10. And that looked worse until a late touchdown for Colorado.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not impressed. They almost lost last week and it took everything they had to beat North Dakota State last week. And then they go to Nebraska and they get their butts handed to them by Nebraska.
Personally, I don't care about Colorado. We don't play them.
No, don't care about them, but
same thing with Utah. We don't play them.
Yeah, but just on the edge of looking
but like TC have the trend. The biggest thing that the biggest thing that I see jumping out, you're seeing nobody's putting up against any type of really quality opponents. Nobody's scoring 35, 45 points.
Not really. I mean,
nobody's lighting up the scoreboard. And the Big 12's known for the wide open offenses.
Well, I mean, TCU beat Long Island 45-0.
Yeah,
I mean, we beat Long Island last year 56-0. So
and
you expect that. Texas Tech loses to Washington State 37-16, and then Arizona State. This was kind of a surprise to me. Arizona State beats Mississippi State 30-23. So I don't know if it's just kind of the evening out of college landscape with NIL. Playing these payers, or you're being able to bring a grade A player every once in a while to some of these other teams. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, TCU scored the most points they scored 45 in their game. UCF over Sam Houston, but both of those are low-level schools that they beat.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, to answer Willie's question, how do we stack up against the conference? I think we're
right there with them.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
We're right there with everybody else. We played a top 10 team, played awful, got beat. We played a division,
an FCS school.
Yep. And you're supposed to beat them by a bunch. We beat them by a bunch. Let's not read into it. And the teams in the Big 12, when they played quality, they've competed with them. But you don't see the firepower. There's nothing that's jumping out saying, "Oh no, this team's scored this much or this much or that." No. I'm still not scared of anybody in the Big 12 playing us. Worried a little bit about our defense, kind of. But as far as anybody lighting it up, nobody's really lighting the scoreboard up.
I'm not kind of scared for our defense. I am very worried for our defense, because if our defense doesn't get it together, teams are going to light it up on us.
They'll have it together by Friday night.
I like it, and I agree.
Before they take the trip.
All right. Well, the conference does go 9-6 this week, which anytime you go over 500 as a conference, it's good for the conference, but nothing crazy there. Yeah. So that's our answer for that one, Willie. Is we're just kind of right there in the middle with the conference right now. I think it's kind of too early to tell. Most teams have played a quality opponent and a cupcake right now. Pretty much. It's the beginning of the race, and there's no real separation yet, in my opinion. So, second question from Madison Kelly at Madison Kelly P, and I like her. She's fun to bat back and forth with on Twitter. She says, "What if any changes do you think are going to be made going to the backyard brawl?" Me, I think we're going to open up the playbook a little more. I think we kept things vanilla this week and didn't really reach too much into the bag for obvious reasons. We didn't need to beat them. And I don't think we got down and dirty too much with Penn State. But Neil knows this is a game he can't F around and find out with. And
Yeah.
he knows this is a game that has to be a W on our scoreboard, or it's going to be bad. So I think we reach into we make some offensive changes. We get a little down and dirty with our playbook, but I think we need to find a way to get more pressure on the QBs. There's a lot of QBs we're going to face in our conference, and we need to take this week and figure out how to get to them so we can kind of take some of the pressure off our secondary, and get more pressure in the backfield. So I think we'll see some differences in the defensive play calling this week, and I think we're going to see a more aggressive offensive, maybe some window decoration, maybe some motion and some movement and crap, stuff like that.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. I mean, I 1000% agree that we've been kind of vanilla, playing things close to the vest. I personally, they say you bring out trick plays when you know you can't beat your opponent straight up. If I can't beat you, I'm going to try to trick you.
Right.
Well, you might see a fake punt. You might see, you know what I'm saying? Something wonky happen. It won't surprise me if Pitt pulls out everything and tries to put the 12 and 13th player on the field and try to get away with it, But I just hope, and I mean, when I say I hope, I really hope that we get a couple bounces our way. The last couple times that we played Pitt, we don't get. It seems like we never get a bounce our way. Even last year, that game was so just ho hum here in Morgantown.
Yeah,
Pitt couldn't do nothing. I'm saying they really brought nothing to the table. It was a boring game, and we didn't score that much.
No, really. But you also have to remember that last year at the Pitt game is when Green got hurt, and we threw Nico in there against our number one hated rival. And we kept things very close to the chest. Hey, handoff, short passes, just to kind of keep the lead, just to get out of there with a win. So Nico could have the following week to prep for the next game. I
will have a total meltdown if this game is 20-13, 7, and West Virginia and Neil sets on a lead. I will absolutely lose my mind.
I mean, I hope not, because I think that he learned that lesson last year, against Houston, because we sat on that lead in the first half against Houston. If you don't sit on that lead in the first half against Houston and you go ahead, put the pedal down and score an extra touchdown, then the Hail Mary doesn't matter. So I think he learned that lesson, because I feel like he was more aggressive through the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I saw him going back to some of the conservative BS in the Penn State game. Didn't like it. I'm hoping he stays away from it. But you're right. Excuse me. He's got to put the pedal down. I mean, it's Pitt. It's Pitt. You said it yourself. 100 is not enough to beat them by.
No.
And not only is it our most hated rival, we have to make a statement, because right now our resume reads, got your ass beat by the number 8 team, which we expected to lose, but didn't expect to look like trash.
Yeah.
You beat an FCS school, which you should have beaten, but you still gave up 306 yards in the air to them. So we have to make a statement at some point. And I think this week is an excellent time to do that. Beat Pitt, beat them by a lot, let Green do his thing, run wild, throw the ball, guys catch the ball, guys hold on to the ball, because Green had a fumble. Green already has more turnovers this year, or as many turnovers this year. He's still one short. I think he's got 3 right now. But either way, point being, this is the week we need to make a statement. We need to do it hard. Defense has to straighten up. Secondary's got to.
2.5 weeks ago, I think West Virginia beats Pitt by 21 points. Now, I just think Pitt's good enough to make us nervous. And believe me, I want to call it, like I said, I think I said 41-31, 10. I'm not happy with the 10-point win. I mean, I'm happy to go to get my ass back through the tunnels with a win. That's all I really want,
right,
on this Saturday. But I'd love to see West Virginia go up there and just cruise to 24, 20, 27-point win. That's what I want to see. Effortless, strategy,
Right.
where we call this works. We call this that shut them down. The defense flies. And that's another thing. Like I heard the defense they just look sluggish and slow, like they're overthinking the plays. I just want to see reaction go, offensively, defensively.
In my opinion, it almost looks like they're more of trying to trick the quarterback into mistakes and trying to read where things are going to happen instead of getting onto the receiver and staying with him.
Yeah.
And then they're a step behind. So while they're trying to catch up, I mean, we had a pass interference call happen right in front of me on the goal line, right in front of where I sit. And everybody's booing. And I'm like, I don't know why you guys are booing. That's the right call. We're all over him and we're not making any attempt to look back at the ball.
Yeah.
And they're going to call that it's textbook pass interference, right? With the way the rule reads right now, that's textbook pass interference. You got your hands all over him, you're running him up, you're pushing, nudging on him, and you're not looking back and trying to make a play for the ball. It's going to get called every time.
Yeah, the D-back, your defensive back is just being reactive to what the offensive wide receiver's doing.
Yeah,
exactly. That's all you're doing. You're playing the player, not the ball, and they're definitely going to make a call on that. Even if the offensive guy pushes you off, you're still. And if a flag comes, it's going to be on the defensive player because he has no clue what the hell's going on.
Because you initiate that contact without looking at the ball and without planning to make a play on the ball. Yeah, that's it. So, But ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Kind of a ho-hum episode, I guess. It's Albany. Like, what are you going to talk about?
Yeah.
It's Albany, and we're looking ahead to Pitt. So everybody, chant at somebody this week. Somebody tell Pitt sucks this week.
Leave a message on this on Twitter, X, whatever platform it is. Where you're going to be, I'll be up there, and I have no destination except for AccuShore Stadium, pretty much. So if I can swing by somebody's tailgate, that'd be awesome. Just say, hey, we're by here, we're by there. We're going to be, no problem invading your tailgate. So I have no problem grabbing a pepperoni roll and a shot of Fireball, and let's get down. So
I will be watching from Capital City, seeing if I can catch Lanny with his shirt off on TV.
That won't happen.
No. All right. Thank you guys that like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate the views and everything. And hey, everybody have a good week.
Hope we kept you entertained from ear to ear. Let's go.